Hello, photographers and designers and other freelance creatives. Welcome to Coaching for Creatives. I am McKay. I am the founder of Business of Creativity, and I am here to talk to you today about what is the difference between reacting and responding, and why should you care, and what can you do about it? Welcome. Today's conversation, reacting versus responding. And this came about through talking to several members within my Business Accelerator Mastermind group and Confident Creative Club. And what people were sharing is that when they get a no thank you from a prospect, or they get feedback from a client that might sort of be feeling a little bit negative, or where maybe a client or a prospect isn't exactly happy with them, or they get some feedback on social media, any of that stuff that we see out there in the world that might trigger you a little bit to drop into those intense emotions of, instant, I'm on the defense, or somebody's being hypercritical of me, or I'm not enough, or I'm in fear or lack. Or sometimes when we get a no thank you from a client or a prospect, that can feel really hurtful, or we can even be resentful. A lot of people were sharing today in the conversations in the mastermind group that they've been sending out quotes lately, and prospects have been asking for discounts or asking for amounts off. And their initial reaction is like, what do you mean you want a $75 discount on a $1,500 job? That just seems petty and rude and cheap. And so their initial reaction and those initial strong emotions can really influence the way that you respond to one of those situations. Think about this in your freelance business. Has there ever been a moment where you've read something or you received something and you think, that's terrible, that's rude, that's disrespectful, that somehow triggers something in you where you have a strong emotional reaction to it? And responding from that place of strong emotions can be effective. Some of you are master communicators, and you might be able to craft a response that is still considered and creates relationship and bond. But most of the time, what happens is that our first reaction, if we respond to it from that place, we're responding from all that hurt, rejection energy, and it can seep into the communication, and it can start to color how we craft our response. So instead, if we can take a moment to separate from that immediate emotional response, and I don't mean separate, hide, or mask, or separate yourself from your body or emotions, not at all. What I mean is to recognize and acknowledge, oh, wow, I'm having some really strong emotions right now in response to this. What do I want to choose as my response? Do I want to actually go into the next phase of this conversation from this place of these feelings and this kind of strong negative emotion? How do you do that? How do you take a pause? How do you reflect? For me, it is part of the habit and the routine that I have developed over years of practice, and one that I include on every single one of my paid coaching calls and all of my group membership calls. And that is the practice of taking a moment before you write an email, before you post on social media, before you jump on live, before you respond to something that has triggered a strong reaction, to take a moment and just check in and practice looking at, what is it that I am currently feeling? What is my current energy? Can I put a label on this? Can I identify, is this hurt? Is this rejection? Is this a knee jerk reaction or defensiveness? What is actually going on with me? Is this level of emotion directly related to this current experience? Or am I bringing in past issues and past feelings into the present moment that don't really belong here? Is this the kind of energy that I want to move forward with on my next part of my conversation? Even just by taking a moment to stop and consider and look to see, where are your current feelings and emotions, putting a label on them and deciding whether or not those emotions are actually going to serve you, is a huge part in moving from being a reactionary person to being a considered responsive person. Once you have that moment and that realization and that perspective on those emotions, then you can start moving forward with intention. You can ask yourself the next questions about, what do I really want the outcome to be of this conversation? I recently had a situation where I have the ideal prospect. I'm 100% confident that my Confident Creative Club is the right solution for him. It's going to accelerate his results. It's going to give him all the support and the training and the one-to-one private coaching that he needs to make a meaningful difference in his life and start getting the traction and momentum that he really wants for himself. We have this great connection. I'm thinking that this is absolutely good to go. And then I get the message that says, wah, wah, wah. No thanks. I'm going to do it on my own and I'll get back to you once I've been successful. And I think, seriously? What do you mean? You're going to do it on your own and you're going to get back to me when you're successful. The whole point of us working together and you coming back to me is so that I can help you be successful. That I'm going to have it be take you less time to get that success and to start earning that money. I know it's hard when you don't have the financial cash flow right in the beginning to be able to think about investing in a coach or a program that's going to help you get more results. I know that's a challenge. But my first reaction, the feeling I had was hurt and rejection and defensiveness, and not really the place that I want to live when I'm supporting my community. I would prefer to come from a place of compassion and empathy and understanding, and to really meet my commitment of supporting people where they're at. To take a moment and to think about how I was going to respond, I didn't do it this time. I responded directly from my reaction. I responded from my hurt, from my confusion, from my sense of like frustration of knowing that there was a solution, instead of taking a moment and thinking about, what did I really want as the outcome? What I really want is, I want him to be successful. If I were to change my response now, I would have been much more compassionate, much more understanding, much more curious about why he made that decision, instead of just making my own assumptions about why he made that decision. And if you can start to think about responding with an intention, with thinking about, what is the greater outcome? I want to continue this relationship. I want to be there for him when he's ready to be supported. Instead, I reacted, and I reacted with, this is a little bit silly. It's, pretty hard to hire a personal trainer after you've lost the 30 pounds. Don't you think you're making a mistake? Which is not compassionate, which is not about supporting them. Really, I had a firsthand experience of being in that place where I reacted instead of considered a response. And I know that, yeah, it might have cost me a client, but it breaks my heart to think that it might be costing that person their success, or might be costing them the opportunity to be supported in a way that would be actually meaningful for them. When you are confronted by those kind of strong reactions of, this person is just taking advantage of me, this person doesn't respect my creativity or my skills, this person is clueless when it comes to what it takes, this person is just looking for price, or this person, like, we have all these beliefs and attitudes and reactions that don't necessarily serve us when it comes to making meaningful connections with our clients. I implore you and I encourage you and I invite you to think about how can you create a gap between when you read something like your email or your social media and when you make the response. How can you give yourself that opportunity to really consider what is going to serve us best in this situation? How are we going to continue this relationship? Folks, that's my take for today. I hope to see you here next time live on Coaching for Creatives. Have a great day.